For all the latest on the SaWGuy podcast, be sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell icon. Welcome to the SaWGuy podcast. As always, y'all know I am the SaWGuy, and I wanted to do something a little different. I know I normally have my $5 horror find, the horror news update, special segment episodes that I do for you guys, but I figured I wanted to do another one for you that I call the Horror-pinion, right? So what is the Horror-pinion? Horror-pinion is basically me kind of telling you my opinion on things and the trend in horror films and how it's going on. I got the idea because, when I went through school and went through all the medical stuff, we always had to watch videos on TED Talks. And that's actually became one of my dreams, that I want to be on TED Talks, talking about horror films. It's going to happen one day. We'll see. But since I can't give you TED Talks, I'm going to give you the Horror-pinion, right? So the new trend that I'm seeing in all of these recent new horror films, and, even if you talk about Halloween from 2018, what they decided to do is that a lot of these films, they kind of put their own little twist on things. And that's cool, don't get me wrong. I really do like how they bring back a franchise that was considered dead, but at the same time, they put their own little twist and kind of obscure things, like Halloween, for example, right? Halloween takes place 40 years after the first one, so it bypasses the second one. Michael Myers has no connection whatsoever to Laurie Strode. They're not brother, they're not sister, any of that shit. Which, that's a big twist if you do it right, but it's one of those things where they actually really did do it good. But then, seeing some of this other recent trends, right? Take, for example, the Pet Sematary remake. I read the book numerous times. I've obviously loved the movie. I've done it as an episode here on SaWGuy podcast. But when I started seeing the trailers and see how they do the little bit of things differently, like, oh shit, okay, this kind of worries me here, right? The thing that worries me is that in the book and in the movie, the original one, they showed that the little boy, Gage, gets killed. Well, in this new one, they switched it all up. It's not Gage, it's Gage's sister that gets killed. And I didn't see that until I saw the trailer, like, oh shit, mind blown. Like, personally for me, I do not like that. They're basically doing the skew of it and then skewing it off into their own thing. And I don't like that. Like, if it's something so iconic, why fuck with it? It's one of those things where if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just put your own twist on it, wrap it with a bow and repackage it for the new generations. That's personally what I like, right? Take for example the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I love that whole fucking franchise for what they did to it, They brought it back. A lot of people didn't like it because of the fact that you got, Jackie Earle Haley playing as Freddy Krueger. But take him out of the equation and you put Robert Englund, it still would have been a great film, but it's just people associate Robert Englund with Freddy Krueger. Now, you look at the Jason remake, the Friday the 13th remake. I love that because it tied in 1, 2, and 3 together. And the only twist is that they showed Jason where he's actually running. And they did that because they changed Jason into a hunter type because he wasn't a zombie at that time. Which, I love that trend and how they did that. But what they're doing for Pet Sematary, and some of these other new remakes that are coming out, especially with It, the remake, how they kind of changed it up a little bit. Obviously with It, they had to change it up because of that one fucked up scene in the book. But, it's just kind of interesting how they're doing it. And this is why, like, some of these films get kind of tainted, I guess you could say. As I said, this is all my pure own opinion. And I personally will still support these films, go see it in theaters, I'll still buy the movies. But I just don't like the idea of how they keep switching around things and try to call it their own, Case in point, it's just when they remake a film, I don't think it should be shot-for-shot remake like what they did with Psycho, with Vince Vaughn and everything. That was just atrocious. It's cool how they try to do a wink to Hitchcock and everything, but to do shot-for-shot remake, it was just, no. Personally, for me, if you modernize it, if you make it, really good, like what Rob Zombie did for Halloween, that was really cool, He gave Michael Myers a backstory, but still kept the traditional roots in it. And then, later on, obviously, they wanted to come back for the sequel, and they switched that up. But if you disclude the sequel, the original one was great that Rob Zombie did, I like the sequel. I know a lot of people are probably going to bash me because I like the sequel, but the sequel was good for what it was. It was completely skewed off, but it's just, there's a fine line between it. I mean, some things you can get away with it, other things you can't. Depends on how iconic they are, And my opinion on that is that you're starting to see that a lot in these horror films. That's a new trend, is that they'll bring back a franchise and they'll do, their own twist to it. Ghostbusters. A lot of people that I know didn't like Ghostbusters. Personally, for me, I used to like it as a kid in the 80s, but when they said they were going to remake it and do this, it's like, whoa, okay. It wasn't the aspect of, for me, that they changed the characters from male to female. What I didn't like is they made it too CGI oriented, and the original Ghostbusters wasn't like that, A lot of people will tell you they don't like the Ghostbusters last remake that they did because they changed the cast from male to female. And then now there's already talks that they're going to remake it again, but this time it's going to be like Stranger Things mixed in with Ghostbusters, which they're like, come on now, don't beat it with a dead horse. Just give the fans what they want. They just want the simple remake, nothing fancy, no one's handprint on it and stuff like that. But I mean, that's the trend. That's the trend that we're all seeing right now, And personally, I do see this trend still happening more often. If a film comes out like Halloween 2018, which was great, it did really good. There's talks that they're going to do a sequels off of that, which, it's a wait and see on that for now, but for films like Pet Sematary, how they kind of switch it up a little bit, ooh, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, But that's, purely my opinion as a horror fan and for what I've seen, the trends and everything, But that's some of the horror trends that I'm seeing out there. And I hope you all enjoyed my horror opinion on, these recent horror trends that are going out. And as always, I will catch y'all next time, and hopefully we'll see if I make it to TED Talks one day, right? Thank y'all for tuning in.
Bow down to the